I mean, we were on Kelly Clarkson and the Mike Rowe Show because of the Next Gen Trades Academy. And Mike especially was like, this is needed everywhere. And I'm like, yeah, I know. We're getting calls from everywhere about how can we do this program? How can we do it here? Because there's disasters everywhere. I live in an area where there's been multiple fires. Our city practically burned down back in 2017 with the Tubbs fire and the Kincaid, and we're rebuilding, and these builders can't build fast enough because they don't have a workforce.
This is the Wealthy Contractor Podcast, brought to you by G4 Marketing. Interviews with today's top home improvement entrepreneurs about marketing, sales, money, mindset, and lifestyle. Now, here's your host, Brian Kaskavalciyan.
All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Wealthy Contractor Podcast. This is Brian Kaskavalciyan with G4 Marketing Group. And today I have Letitia Hanke with ARS, Roofing, Gutters, and Solar out of Oakland, California, right?
Pretty close, Santa Rosa.
Santa
I'm not
Rosa.
far from Oakland.
Okay,
yeah, I'm in Northern, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for being here.
I'm happy to be here.
So we were just chatting before we turned on the recording, and I had to tell her how this came about. I saw Letitia in a magazine last year, in Roofing Contractor magazine. What I forgot, because it had been so long, was she was last year the residential roofing contractor of the year. So congratulations. That's
Thank you.
Amazing. I had the magazine, and I held on to it, and then I finally gave it to Ebony, who books all of our guests, and I said, Ebony, go find this woman and see if she'll come on the podcast. And Ebony, is awesome. She went and she did it, and Letitia's here. An hour and a half ago, no, 2 hours ago, we're at lunch, and we had a marketing team meeting, and we were talking about Letitia, that this afternoon I was going to interview her. And Ebony tells me, oh yeah, she's been on the Kelly Clarkson show. She's done a number of things. And I'm like, what? Kelly Clarkson show? I said, you got to get me some notes. This call is at 4:15. You got to get me some notes. So she gets me all these notes, and Letitia, not only was she on the Kelly Clarkson show, but she was also on a show with Mike Rowe, who I love, by the way. I want to really try and get him onto this.
Oh, that'd be great.
But anyway, so she's like a superstar here. And I'm very grateful that she's here. But she has I'm kidding, but she has an amazing story. And I can't wait to dive into it. So I'll stop talking now. And let's give everybody some of your backstory. Tell us your story. How did you get into roofing?
Well, it was actually all by accident. So I'm a musician. And while I was in college, I was a very broke musician, as most college students are broke, right? Yeah. And I needed a really good paying job. I was in my junior year in college, and I applied at a roofing company simply as the receptionist, answering phones, filing, got the job. And after about a year and a half there, my boss promoted me to office manager. He fired his office manager and asked if I wanted to take over her position. I'm like, sure, why not? Took over her position, and after another couple of years, became the manager of the company. And I started running the business. So I'm about 4 years in at this point. And my boss comes to me and says, I want to retire from roofing. I've been in the industry 30 years. I'm ready to retire. I want you to buy my company. And I'm just like, I'm not a roofer. How am I just going to, buy your company? He says, are you willing to learn? And that was the question for me. Are you willing to learn? And I said, yeah, sure. I'm 20. I'll do anything, right? You're 20 some years old. You'll just do it. Yeah. So for another few years, I learned how to roof so that way I could get my contractor's license. Got my contractor's license in 2004. And then my boss decided to just retire. And I went ahead and started my own company and hired a few of his employees, bought his assets. And then I started my own business in 2004 and then just continued to build a company. So
wow.
That's the short
So
version, but that's how it all happened.
so it happened. So you were in your early 20s,
Yes.
and that all happened in a matter of what, 4 years? Four or
Yeah, it
five
was an 8 year period altogether. So
altogether, eight.
yeah,
Okay.
it was about 4 years running the business. Learning how to run the business was, it's always a challenge, right? Running a
Yeah.
company, but I loved it. I thrived on it. But I also loved the outdoors. That part was great as well. Just I loved both parts of it, being outdoors, and I loved the indoor part with the customer. How do I put that together and start my own business and made it happen? So it's been a great journey, for us.
Yeah.
It's been an interesting journey for me. I mean, as a female, of course, and then
Yeah.
as the African American female has always added a little extra spunk to it.
Yeah.
But I pressed through, all the obstacles I've been through, and here I am.
Awesome. So give us a little perspective here. So that was in 2004. So we're
Yeah.
16, 17 years later now, 17 years later. What does the company look like now?
So in 2004, I was definitely much smaller. I had about 11 employees at that point when I first started. For me personally as well, I was in hiding. I was trying to just blend in with the guys. There's not a lot of females that are in roofing at all,
Yeah.
and for me and where I live, there weren't a lot of black people in construction either. So I was just really trying to figure out, how do I keep growing my company? What do I do? So I attempted networking and got some pushback with that. But after all, I just kept pushing forward. I kept hiring more employees and getting them trained. Right now, I have 25 employees altogether. And we grew about 8 years ago. I made some changes to the business, and we started growing once I actually stopped hiding, because I was, blending in as much as I could and not really embracing the fact that I'm a female, contractor. And once I stopped, signing my name, L.R. Hanke, I actually started just putting my face on everything and letting people know that I was female, and the community exploded, and my business absolutely just exploded.
Wow.
So we've grown a lot since over the last 8 years, and we're continuing to grow.
That's interesting that you say that and you use the word hiding,
Hmm.
because a lot of business owners do that. A
Hmm.
lot of business owners don't want to put their face, they don't want to put their name on stuff, and I think personally, I think it's a mistake. I don't like it. I have to put my face on everything. I have to put my name on everything. I go speak, I do this, I do. I mean, I don't. Most people would be surprised at that. I don't like it, but people buy from people. They
That's
don't
right.
buy from companies.
That is correct.
And so by putting your face out there, that's like one of the smartest things you can do as a business owner, because now people can see, hey, I'm buying from Letitia,
That is
right?
correct.
I'm not buying from this thing called ARS, right? I'm buying from Letitia. And that probably, I'm not surprised that the business grew as it did.
Exactly.
Um, but I'll tell you what, though, what's impressive is the track record that you've been in business for so long. What are some of the things, what makes your company successful?
My story definitely is a part of it. I do, because I stopped hiding it and I actually share my story. A lot of our clientele and our regular clients, they love the fact that when they're doing business with my company, they're actually helping the community, because I have a nonprofit as well,
Yeah.
and we donate to every job we do, we donate to the nonprofit, and people love that. I mean, I can't tell you how many jobs I've sold 10,000 above other contractors, because that client loves the fact that we give back to the community and we're helping young people. And that is definitely one of the things that makes us different from, many other contractors around. We're just doing more, and people want to be a part of that and love that. And then we share that. We're not keeping it a big secret. We make sure every client knows that, you're contributing to something much bigger than just putting your roof on your home or your hotel. So
Yeah. So when people say that, oh, I can't sell a job for that much money, 10,000 over somebody else, what's your kind of reaction to that?
I probably can't say it on air, but no,
Yeah.
it's just not true.
Yeah.
The truth is that people will do business with whoever they like, and they will spend the money. They don't. A lot of people have the money. They just, you have to give them a reason to want to spend it, and that's what I've learned this whole time, is that they'll spend the money if it means something to them, and they know that they're getting a value. And that's what I've learned over these last, especially these last few years. I've just seen it more and more and more, even through a pandemic. People are still spending 10,000, 5,000, or whatever more, to just make sure they're getting more quality, and knowing that they have a purpose and a meaning to it all. So
Yeah. Yeah. My good friend John Anglis always says, when value exceeds price, people buy. When the price exceeds value, people don't buy. And so one of the ways that you're building value is through the other work that you're doing. But I would imagine that your reputation also has a lot to do with it as well.
yes, it does.
Yeah.
I mean, we're roofers. I mean, what kind of, we all have a bad reputation, right? As a roofer,
Yeah.
we're shysters. We're not truthful. We're not honest. I mean, that's what people think of us in general. And it was just really important. If I was going to go into this business, I wanted to make sure I was not represented in that way. So the team that I put together, I wanted to make sure we all had the same mindset. We're going to always do everything, we're going to do everything right the first time around. We're not going to skip steps. We're not going to undercut. We're just going to be legitimate. I'm going to sleep at night every night, and a lot of contractors that I know, they're losing sleep because our IRS is coming after me at any moment or whatever. Right. And
Right.
I'm like, no, that's not going to be who we are. So that makes it very special for me and my employees to know that, we are out there doing it the right way and building a better reputation for our industry. And that's really important.
How are you communicating that to your prospects?
So I have pretty nice marketing tools, but my suppliers help as well, because we are certified with all of our, the products that we install. So we have a nice little packet that we show our especially our new clients, so they can see that, number one, we are top installers for the products that we're doing. All of my employees are trained and certified. There's also longevity. I mean, I've been in the industry now 25 years and 17 as the CEO.
Yeah.
And then the things that we do in the community is what really does it as well. When they see all the community things that we're doing, they're just like, okay, this is someone who really cares and really wants to do a good job, because my reputation means a lot. I don't want to have a bad reputation, but then I'm trying to do great stuff in the community under a nonprofit. So I think that's what really shows it to our clients.
Yeah. How did you, at 20 some years old, in your early 20s, I mean, I'm thinking back to me in my early 20s, I was ambitious, and I worked really hard, but what was it in you that well, it's a tough question, but what do you think it was in you that drove you so hard? That, because the person that you were working with or for, he saw something in you. I mean, it's kind of obvious today, but I didn't know you back then. What do you think it was?
What I know it is when I was a kid, I grew up in the Bay Area. I actually was born down near Berkeley,
Okay.
California. And my parents moved me and my brother up to the country in Lake County, which was very, very small town, all white town. And I was bullied severely for being, one of 6 black kids in an entire school. And kids would tell me I would never amount to anything because I'm black and I was stupid and dumb and, get out of here and you're ugly. And for so many years hearing that as a kid, you start believing it. And there was a point that I was starting to believe it. And I had a turnaround point when I was about 8, 9 years old. A teacher put a trumpet in my hands and she taught me how to play trumpet every day so I wouldn't get bullied on this playground. And it just really built up my confidence. And I just saw a difference in myself once I started making friends and just realizing that, hey, I am smart. And I really just, the rest of my life, realized that I wanted to prove those kids wrong that told me I'd never
Oh,
amount to
nice.
anything.
Yeah.
And that's really what it's been for me my whole life. It's just saying, okay, you tell me I can't. Please, I'm like asking you, tell me I can't. Tell me, because that drives me more than anything. So even when I went to go get a loan to start my roofing company, and they're just like, what? No. And it just kept me saying more and more and more, I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to make sure it happens. And I knew I wanted to start a business. I knew I wanted to be a business owner. I had no idea that it was going to be roofing,
Roofing.
but
Yeah.
I just needed that opportunity to be there. And my boss saw my drive, and I didn't let people run me over. And that's kind of what he was looking for. And I just kept going. And even to today, I mean, I'm always looking to prove those kids wrong, that I will amount to something and I will make a difference in this world. So.
Wow, that's an amazing story.
Let's pause here for a quick break. Are you ready to accelerate your business success in 2022? If you answered yes, then you'll want to listen closely to this special invitation. We're calling all home improvement and home service business owners to join us at Accelerate Live 2022, happening in beautiful sunny South Florida on February 15th and 16th. This is the only home improvement event guaranteed to be profitable for you on day one. To get more information, please go to www.accelerateevent.com. Discounted pricing is available right now. So if you want to save big, go to www.accelerateevent.com, and for additional savings, enter coupon code WEALTHY22 at checkout. Remember, this event is 100% guaranteed. If you don't feel it was profitable enough for you on day one, not only will we refund you your ticket money, but we will also give you $1,000 back to cover your time and your travel. So don't delay. Go to www.accelerateevent.com and secure your ticket today. Now back to this week's episode.
So let's talk about. So you have you're saying about the things you do in the community. Let's talk about Next Gen Trades Academy. I think this is, and I've talked to God, in the last few months, especially with what's going on with labor shortages,
Yep.
this is becoming a bigger and bigger issue. But what you're doing is you're going to the core of it. Can you talk a little, talk a lot about what you're doing at Next Gen? Because I think this needs to be in every single community
Oh, yeah.
in the country.
It really just started with my contractors. We'd always get together, have lunch, and we'd always talk about what's going on in the industry. And this is, these were HVAC contractors, electricians. We have weekly meetings and talk. And the one thing that we would all say was the issue was that we can't find labor. We can't find young people, that we can't find anyone. And anyone who's seasoned, meaning they've been in the industry long enough, they come in with bad attitudes, they come in with bad habits, and it makes things worse than better. So I went to them and I said, well, you guys, I'm starting this nonprofit. And I'm wondering, if I were to, train young people to get into the trades, would you be willing to mentor and hire them? And they all said yes. So there were about 14 of us in the very beginning. They all said yes. So I'm like, okay. So I designed this program. I had a great team, put together a team. We designed this program where we simply bring our program to like high schools or different programs in the community for ages 16 to 24. And we just get them interested in the trades, because they don't even know that they have this option to go into the trades because it's not taught. Right. They don't mention it in schools. The parents aren't talking about it. It's like, just go to college. Well, we all know that there's a lot of young people that can't go to college or don't want to go to college. Just they don't want school. They want to work. They want to have a career. So we're targeting those students that don't know that they can have an amazing career in construction. And we're training them in all these different types of trades. And then at the end of it all, they get hired by local contractors. Wow. And that's really it. That's what's been happening. And the thing exploded. I mean, we were on Kelly Clarkson and the Micro Show because of the Next Gen Trades Academy. And Mike especially was like, this is needed everywhere. And I'm like, yeah, I know. We're getting calls from everywhere about how can we do this program? How can we do it here? Because there's disasters everywhere. I live in an area where there's been multiple fires. Our city practically burned down back in 2017 with the Tubbs fire and the Kincaid, and we're rebuilding, and these builders can't build fast enough because they don't have a workforce.
Right.
So that's what this program is for us now to introduce these young men and these young women to get into these amazing trades like plumbing and roofing and solar. And it's been so great.
So what does it look like? Do you approach high schools and ask if you can come in and do a presentation? I mean, how do you start? How does it start?
Well, actually, they've all come to us. So we're trying to, like, we can't even meet the demand right now because there's so many contractors coming to us. But we bring the program to that school. So, for instance, one of the schools that we're at, they approached us. They said we have a really high rate of dropouts as far as seniors. You know, they're having kind of that senioritis. They don't know what they want to do with their lives, so they just drop out. So that's the purpose why they had us come to their school, so that way we can introduce these seniors to this type of program. So right now, whoever kind of contacts us, we let them know how the program works and how we can bring it to their location, and then we bring it to their location.
Can you
So
tell us? Can you tell us? Because maybe someone listening wants to do it, and I'd love to help.
Well, we have a whole format of it. So that it all first starts with contractors. You have to have a group of contractors, and my minimum is 14 because you need to have enough contractors willing to hire, because we have about 15 to 20 students that take a class. Every class, we do about 7 classes a year.
Okay.
So, you know, as far as the process goes, it's a much longer conversation, but I'm always welcome to, you know, we do Zoom meetings where we bring people together and tell them how it works. But it's not difficult. We did it as a nonprofit, so that way we're able to actually get funding, because it does cost money to teach the class. It's
Sure.
free to the students, but it costs money to actually teach the program. But we get funding from private funders, and also grants that come in for it as well. So there's just a little process, and at any point, I'm always welcome to walk people through the process.
How long is the program for the kids?
So when we do it in person, it's a 6-week class, because we get to do in person projects. We get to build things and do activities. But because of COVID, last year we had to move the class to a Zoom class, and it's a 3-week class when we do it on Zoom. And what we found, because we started classes coming Saturday, I believe this will be our 9th Zoom class since COVID started. We are seeing the same results from a 3-week Zoom class that we did in person,
Really?
with no like hands-on or anything, because the contractors are so desperate to just hire.
Yeah.
They're so desperate. And the students learn so much more than just contracting. They learn about financial literacy. They take a safety course. They have to pass a safety course to graduate. They actually take a real estate class to learn how to be able to save their money to actually buy real estate and not rent. You know, here in California, rent's like $2,500 a month for like a 1-bedroom, you know?
Yeah.
So we're trying to teach them how to save money to actually buy a condo and be able to have a roommate and pay their mortgage, right? We teach them all these other life skills, health and nutrition. So that way, when they graduate from this program, they're very well-rounded. They're ready to rock and roll. They're ready to put their money away, because some of these students are going from making $13 or $14 an hour to making $25 an hour to start.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that they're doing good with their money. So yeah, there's a lot involved in it, but
I
so proud
love
of
it.
it all. See their changes and see
I
their
love
careers.
it.
Yeah, thank you. On our website, you can actually watch videos of some of
Okay.
the students that have been through the program. We have a section that shows a lot of videos of the students just telling about their experience and what it's been like for them. And it's just great to hear it from their mouths.
What is the website? And we'll put it in the show notes too. But
Sure. Well, if you go to the limefoundation.org, and that's lime, like, you know, lemon lime,
okay.
that's when you go and you click on the video, who we are, and the videos and everything's there. The
The
Lime
Lime
Foundation.
Foundation. Okay, we'll make sure and put it in the show notes.
Thank you.
So it's interesting that I actually was interviewing somebody else this afternoon, another female owner of she owns an HVAC company.
Oh, yeah.
And we were talking about something very similar. And one of the things that she said, and I think this is sorely missing in the industry, is the educating the public that there is a really good success path in the trades. Like, you can make a lot of money as a plumber, as a roofer, as a HVAC, just go down the list, right? And we should be doing a better job of educating the public and educating these kids. Like, hey, you don't, like you said, you don't need to go to college. You want to start working? here, go down this path. And I love that you're putting the financial literacy part of it too, because that, yeah, they could go start working and they start making more money, but if they don't know how to manage their money, then they get into trouble.
That's right. That's exactly correct.
Yeah.
They're spending, buying new rims for their beat up car. And, we're like, dude, that $2,500 could have been, this or that. And that's really important. And you're right about it's funny you mentioned plumbers, because plumbers is the perfect example that I love to use. Every single class since we started this program, I've asked the students, what's the first thing you think of when you think of a plumber? And there has not yet been a class, this is class number 19, that someone has not raised their hand and said plumber's crack.
Yeah.
That is the perception of what, the industry is about. And it's not about, did you know that plumber is making $250,000 a year or more? They don't know that because no one's teaching them that. Right. And their perception of that is that we walk around with our pants hanging off our butt. And it's not that's not the case. And we're trying to get that out of their heads. And it really needs to happen at a level where they're younger. When they're younger, they need to start learning that there are other options besides college. And college is not guaranteed. It's guaranteed that you'll get into debt if you're getting student loans. Like, I just paid off my student loan. I'm 45 years old. I just paid off my student loan.
That's crazy.
Just paid it off. I got it when I was 17,
That's
when
crazy.
I went to college, and I'm just paying it off. And it's unacceptable, right? When you think about it, all that debt, and I didn't even do what I went to college for. And there's so many young people that are getting into that debt so early on. How about we teach them how to not get into debt? Let's do that. That's what's going to be better for them. And then how to have this great career in construction, and then soon own their own company. One of my students who went to our class 4.5 years ago, he's been working for a general contractor ever since he started. Even in high school, he worked for him for the summer, went back to school, graduated, and then went back to work for him full time. We had lunch about 2 or 3 months ago, and he said, my goal in the next 2 years is to get my contractor's license, start my own company, and then he said he's going to hire students from our next gen trades.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know, don't make me cry.
That's so cool.
It's literally like when I look at my dream board, when I created my dream board, full circle is what I wanted. That's what I want. And it's gonna happen. So it's very exciting. It's very exciting.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So this is helping, the 14 contractors that you mentioned. This is helping feed those companies with people with kids with good heads on their shoulders, right? And
we're up to 169 contractors now. So we started off with 14 in 2017, and we're now up to 169 contractors that we're feeding a constant workflow to year round.
Just in Northern California, or is it in other parts of the country too?
Just in Sonoma County and Marin
Just in
County.
Sonoma County.
That's where we are. Yes. I know.
Okay, so
yeah.
What does it, I know it's a bigger conversation, but is this something that, so if there's a group of contractors, say in Chicago, I have a lot of clients in Chicago.
Yeah, exactly.
If they all got together and said, hey, we want to put a program like this together, they would reach out to you.
Yes.
And you would show them how to do it. Would it be under your foundation? How does that kind of work?
That is correct. It's under our foundation. So we have a program. It's like a co-ownership program. So we would train them and teach them how to do the program in their location. We'd have them be a part of one of our classes that we're doing as a pilot. So that way they can see how it runs. And then we go and actually teach them how to do it in their areas. So that way they can spread it out, spread the joy right in their area. So all they have to do initially is when they make contact with us, we let them know what are the first steps. There's all these little steps that you have to go through, because we want to make sure it's the right fit, for their area. Is there a need, right? You have to identify to make sure there's a need. I already know there's a need because we're getting calls all the time. But once we identify that there's contractors that want to be mentors and hire, there's a need for it. And then we find the funding. And as a nonprofit, it's much easier to get funding. As a contractor trying to get someone to give you $100,000, it's not likely. But because we're a nonprofit, a 501c3, there's a lot of things that we qualify for as a nonprofit, so we can help them do it and go through the process. So,
wow,
and I'd love to do it. So,
how many kids have gone through your programs?
We've had over 213 kids go through the program so far, and 83% of them have been hired full time.
Wow.
Yes, I love saying it. I
Look,
love saying it makes me so excited. I don't know if you can tell.
not
Maybe
really.
looking at me you can tell, but yes, it makes me so excited to know that, and these young people that we're servicing, these are young people that have come from, they're foster youth. They've been adopted. They've been through the probation system and the juvenile system, wanting to change their lives around. They come from, divorced parents. Some are troubled youth. Some of them are just lost, right? We're helping these young people that just didn't know what they were going to do with their lives,
Yeah.
now have this amazing pathway, and there's nothing more rewarding.
Yeah, it's up to us. I know that I know my clients, we have the conversation all the time. It's we need people, we need people, we need people. We can't go the conventional routes anymore. And what's beautiful about what you're doing is it goes beyond just finding a worker, a body to come and, I've got all this work, come in and just put on a roof. You're actually helping shape somebody's life. And today, and I don't want to go too far down the road with it, but it's tough to see what's going on today with some of these kids.
Yes.
There are a lot of lost kids. There's a lot of kids that fall through the cracks, and they don't need to. There are good people out there that want to help. They don't always know how to help. And I think this is a really good way that at least our community can get together. And I mean, look, 100 and I'm sorry, you said 213 kids.
213, yes.
213 kids in
Yes.
one county.
In
One county.
Yeah.
And so I definitely want to learn more and see if there's anything that we could do here to help that. And if any of my clients are listening and want to learn more about this, reach out to me, let me know, and let's go to Letitia and see. So they would need to form a group of, you said, at least 14 contractors.
Yes, and it's not very difficult to do because I already have a network in most major cities of contractors.
Okay.
So it wouldn't be very difficult to do. But it always is that word of mouth. So it is always nice to start with the contractors that you work with, the ones that you're with, your group, your core.
Yeah.
And then it always spreads out from there. So it's fairly easy to get that process started.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they already know there's a need, because if they're trying to hire and can't hire, then
And you know what I know about this industry too is there are a lot of really, really good people.
Yes.
That want to do things like this, and there's a lot of really good people in this. That's another misconception I think about this industry, is that, contractors, well, some of them are. Let's not go down that road. But
let's not go back.
At least the ones that I know and the ones that I interact with are some of the best people I've ever met in my entire life.
Absolutely.
And so this is cool. You're doing some amazing stuff, and this is another example. This is one of I had to give Letitia a little bit of background on what the Wealthy Contractor is and where it came about. And my whole thing is, we call it the Wealthy Contractor, but it's not only about money. Okay. It's about using your business to live your version of your best life, whatever that means for you. So for some people, it means buying a yacht, buying a plane, buying a great house, taking care of their kids, creating generational, whatever it happens to be. But look at what she's done. I mean, this is building a great company gives you the ability to do things like this. And it's just, I hope that we can inspire some people to create processes in their business and hire great people so they don't have to do everything. And
that's correct.
I have that
right now. with my
Yeah.
staff at my roofing, at my construction company. My staff runs the business, so I'm able to
Yeah.
be over here in my nonprofit, just giving back to the community and doing the stuff that I love and my heart. And that's my idea of wealth, because to have a business kind of run itself without me having to be there every day. I don't have to be in the office. I go maybe once a week,
Yeah.
to my office, and now I'm able to kind of really focus on the things that I love and enjoy.
Yeah. And what's funny is when we went into business, all of us, that was the dream. The
Yeah.
dream was, let me have a business that works without me, you
Yep.
know? And yet we get sucked into our businesses and it takes over our lives. And it really doesn't need to be that way. Wow, Letitia. So this is a lot more than I bargained for. I
You
thought we
know?
were just going to talk about a great roofing company. This turned into a really cool conversation.
It's been great.
Yeah. Well, you're awesome. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
taking the time. And and again, I'm serious. If anybody's interested, we'll put all of the information so you can reach the Lime Foundation directly in the show notes. But particularly for my clients that are out there listening, if we want to try and do something with Letitia, reach out to me and let's go to her and say, hey, we've got groups that, we can put a group together here, a group together there.
Oh,
I think that would be awesome. Help
it's
kids.
great. Yeah,
Cool.
let's help them. Yeah, because
Well,
we really
thank you again.
Thank you.
I
I had a great
appreciate it.
time. Thank you.
Awesome.
And thank you guys for listening.
So yeah, so to everybody listening, thanks for listening. Until next time, this is Brian Kaskavalsian with G4 Marketing Group, and this is the Wealthy Contractor Podcast. Thanks for listening to today's episode of the Wealthy Contractor Podcast. Let me ask you, did it help you look at your business in a different way? Did it spark an idea or ideas that you hadn't thought of before? Do you have a list of action items that you can take and implement into your business or your life today? I really hope so. If it did, I'd like to ask you a favor. Would you leave a 5-star review of the podcast? By doing so, you'll help other contractors find the podcast more easily so that we can help them achieve more success, wealth, and freedom. And before you go, make sure you subscribe to the Wealthy Contractor Podcast so you get access to the latest episodes as soon as they're available. We're always striving to provide you with great content so you don't want to miss what's coming up. In fact, if you haven't already, make sure you go to thewealthycontractor.com and get your free copy of my latest book, The 7 Secrets to Becoming a Wealthy Contractor. Just pay shipping and handling, and I'll take care of the cost of the book. And finally, a big thanks to G4 Marketing for sponsoring the Wealthy Contractor Podcast. For over 12 years now, G4 Marketing has been the secret back office relationship marketing team for hundreds of home improvement and home service businesses just like yours. You get the customer, and our proven system turns that customer into 5-star reviews and profitable repeat and referral business. If your home improvement or home services company completes at least 10 jobs per month, they have a solution that will work for you. To find out more, sign up for your free, no obligation, 10-minute discovery call at www.g4marketing.com/strategy. That's GFOUR marketing.com/strategy. Set your discovery call up today, and they'll help you set your business up for long-term profits and success. So until next time, this is Brian Kaskavalsian.